Well, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called for an early election to occur on September 20th, 2021. This election will occur during the COVID-19 pandemic. Currently, party leaders are campaigning across Canada in hopes of being re-elected. To discuss the Liberal Party's campaign as well as their own election, we are joined today by Liberal MP candidate Ruby Sahota. Hi, Ruby. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, it's my pleasure to join, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. It must be very busy right now with your campaign. As you were mentioning earlier, you're out on the streets until from dusk till dawn, basically, braving the heat and the humidity. So we're very happy to have you today.
Yeah, absolutely. And this gives me a little bit of a chance to get inside in some air conditioning for a little bit. But we have our running shoes on, that's for sure, and we're hitting those doors.
So as the incumbent from Brampton North, how has your campaign kickoff been in this election?
Yeah, we actually had an official campaign launch just last Saturday, and it was, I would say, quite a success. A lot of support, a lot of local people in the community showed up, and I appreciate that. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for giving me so much love and respect over the years. So things have been going well. I will say, due to COVID, of course, all of our teams are trying to do our best to enforce and make sure mask mandates are adhered to, that our volunteers are well trained on protocols as they're hitting the doors, that they step away from the door, wear a mask, and have a conversation at a distance if that person is willing to. And I thought that, launching this campaign, it was going to be very difficult because of the given pandemic, but people have been very receptive and very open to having conversations, which has shocked me a little bit. I know they have been previously, but I also feel maybe due to the pandemic, a lot of people haven't been able to have that engagement with their local members that they're used to seeing, where we go into community events or they feel comfortable coming to our office whenever they like. Our office was really open by appointment only for a little while, and now we're fully open for walk-ins again. But during that time, I think people felt like that there was some disconnect, and so they're really happy to see us at the doors. They want to share their issues and feedback with us, so people have been very receptive.
And you have been the Liberal MP for Brampton North for the last 2 terms, and based on excellent performance that you've earned. How confident are you that you will be voted in for a 3rd term?
Yeah, well, that really is up to the people of Brampton North. All I can say and all I have in my power is to make sure that I continue to work hard, continue to make sure that I'm an accessible MP. That has always been my motto. When people ask you what do you want to achieve, I want to leave behind a reputation and a legacy that, me as being the member of parliament here, or as your Liberal candidate, that you can approach me, that you can share with me some of your most difficult issues and stories. A lot of times when people come to our office, they're sharing personal information and stuff that is quite difficult for them and that they need help in. Otherwise, happy people or people with no problems generally don't show up at their MP office. So, I've always prided myself and made sure that anyone who wants a meeting or a phone call does get one from me. And that's going to be my goal in the years to come as well. So hopefully the people of Brampton are responsive to that, and they elect me to be their member of parliament for a 3rd term, but only time will tell on September 20th when people place their ballot in the ballot box.
What kind of changes did you implement while in office for your riding?
Well, we've made more investments than any other government in affordable housing in the region of Peel. That's very important because our housing wait list is quite long, and people who've had to deal with the situation know that it is many, many, many years that you have to wait. And by that time, you don't know whether the person is going to be in the same situation. On top of that, infrastructure spending has also been, very good. We are going to see a transition of our entire fleet of buses in Brampton pretty much turned into electric buses, thanks to the investment through the Federal Infrastructure Bank. We've been working very close with our municipal counterparts, and that's really important because all the city planning happens under them. So if they have a good partner at the federal level, we're able to get projects put forward. But if they don't, you don't see advancement. And I think there's a lot that the city wants to see for Brampton. There's a big vision. We invested in the Riverwalk project. With that, you'll be able to build up Brampton since it's on a floodplain and have more of a downtown core. And also, throughout this election now, you're hearing about the big issues that people are concerned about, and that really is affordability, the environment. So all of the investments we've been making over the years have been targeted and focused in that direction to try to help solve that issue that we know that we are having. And even our platform, as it's all rolling out, announcement after announcement that you're hearing is also focused in that area. We think we're at a really crucial time after this pandemic. We want to make sure we can pivot and grow our economy, create more jobs, and that's very important to Bramptonians. Bramptonians have for a long time felt that this was a bedroom community and a place that they didn't work or go out for entertainment or school, that it was a place that they just lived and they went elsewhere for all of that. So I, along with my other Liberal teammates and of course the municipal government here, are really looking forward to changing that. And we have made great bounds in that area, but we want to do a lot more in the years to come.
Yeah, and just building off that, if reelected, what kind of changes or policies can the people in your riding expect?
Well, a hot topic that I'm hearing at the doors every day now is housing affordability. Can my child ever afford to be in their own home? There's a lot of worry about that. They want to make sure their children's futures are secured. So you've heard a really comprehensive announcement from our Prime Minister yesterday, our Liberal leader, Justin Trudeau, about housing affordability, and we're going to tackle it on 3 different fronts. And one is a really important one, the Bill of Rights that buyers will have, which they don't have at this time. Right now, there's a lot of blind bidding, a lack of transparency in the real estate market. So we're going to criminalize blind bidding. We're also going to add an additional tax for those that flip homes within 12 months. That's also adding to the cost of homes going up. So people who treat homes as a commodity alone. Ban foreign buyers from buying for the next 2 years until we can come up with a very long-term solution that works. And there's much more. There's going to be a tax-free savings account for people under 40 where they can save for a down payment. There's going to be a rent-to-buy program also created that people can enter into. And as you've heard today as well, banks have benefited during this pandemic when many people have not. So we're going to tax our banking sector and our insurance sector just a little bit more so that they're also contributing to the recovery of this country, because post this election, that is what we are really, really focused on, is recovery. And so as these announcements keep rolling out, even the childcare announcement for $10 a day that was in our last budget, we've reached agreements with about 8 provinces now. We're hoping Ontario is going to be the next in line to agree to sign that province. That is done also not just because, not with one interest only in mind. Of course, we want children to prosper. We want them to get good early learning, child care. However, we also want to see women and families return back to the workforce. And we know from studies that have been done, statistics from Quebec and also other countries that have good childcare programs in place, they have more women in the workforce as a result. Their GDP does go up, and that's something we're very much interested in. We want to give all families the opportunity to be able to, reach their dreams. And I know many women in my position that studied alongside me at one point or another, but they've had to put their careers on hold, and they just can't envision going back to work if it's going to cost them an arm and a leg to put their children through childcare. So I think that is really going to be key.
Beautiful. I love all that. Well, as we are all too aware, this election is occurring during the COVID pandemic. How have Liberals tackled COVID so far, and how will they continue to tackle it if your party gets reelected, Ruby?
Yeah, well, you've seen so far that we are a government that has been compassionate and vigilant throughout COVID-19. We have been compassionate because we've been there for our small businesses. We've been there to provide support to individuals, but we've also been vigilant in planning ahead by making sure that we had more vaccines procured than any other country. Compared to any other country that didn't have at least one point vaccine manufacturing in their own country. We're leaps and bounds ahead of others in terms of our vaccination rates in our country. And so I would like to also thank the Canadian people. Of course, we're generally a very science-based country, and people have a lot of faith in Health Canada and their doctors and healthcare systems. So I want to thank them for stepping up and getting vaccinated, but also to our ministers and our government that worked tirelessly to make sure that all the equipment that was needed, the refrigeration, the actual vaccines themselves, we were able to get them into this country, and now we have more than what we even need, and we're trying to give back to other countries that also need to vaccinate their citizens, because we know this is a global problem, and we won't solve it alone. So I would say, our pandemic response has been right on. And in the years to come, what we're looking to do is make sure that we support businesses now so that they can bring workers back. You heard an announcement a few days ago of extending the hiring program that's going to go until March. The hiring program is focused on providing businesses the support they need to bring employees back to work and hire new ones. That really is going to be our goal going forward.
Great. And speaking of the pandemic, how can voters expect their voting day experience to be this year as compared to pre-pandemic elections?
Well, Elections Canada has ensured us that they are going to be able to run a safe election. Advance voting from October 10th to the 13th, that's 4 days. 4 days of advance voting, more days than we've seen before. And we also have the mail-in ballot option. You can go to electionscanada.ca and request a mail-in ballot and just place it back in the mail. You have to do it within the timelines that they require. So please get on that right now if that's how you wish to vote. And Elections Canada is going to be putting out a lot of that information to every household that has a voter, so that you're well informed about how you can get out there. I believe they're going to have disposable pencils, I've read. Distancing, masks are going to be mandatory when you go to vote. So they're going to make sure that all the precautions are taken so that people are safe.
Okay. Do you have any predictions about the outcome of the 2021 federal election?
Well, of course, we wouldn't be in this if we didn't, hope that we would return with a strong majority so that we can deliver on our platform promises. Platform is, in the coming days going to be completely revealed, and we want Canadians to, exercise their civic right and go to the polls and let us know what they are looking for in this in the upcoming recovery. This is really a question that is being put forth to Canadians so that we have a clear vision of what Canadians expect of us, and so that we can clearly deliver on the things that are expected.
There are three main priorities within the Liberal Party's platform: more money for middle-class families, real action to address the climate crisis, and stronger gun control. Can you tell us about these, Ruby?
Yeah, gun control I can definitely tell you about. And in my riding, that's an issue that comes up quite a bit. We have been victim to a lot of gun violence in the Brampton and Peel area. A couple of summers ago, it was on the news day after day. And so I talk to people, they want guns off our streets. They don't see a need for any of these assault rifles, which we have already put in place legislation to ban assault rifles. We're going to continue to monitor our borders with more investments. We have strengthened our CBSA, but I think there is more to do so that we make sure that guns that are smuggled into this country are caught and the people are punished appropriately, and we're going to continue to work on that. More than that, municipalities and regions that want to work with the federal government to completely ban guns in their area, we're willing to step up and to do that as well.
And just on the topic of gun What do you think about education in terms of firearms for the citizens? Is it just a straight ban that you guys are going for, that your party is going for? Or are you interested at all in setting up infrastructure for education and knowledge about it?
Well, there are training facilities in order to get. I know that our requirements are already quite stringent to get a gun in this country, and so of course there are the training that happens. I know there are a lot of responsible gun owners in this country. However, what does end up happening is that guns are stolen, guns get into the wrong hands, guns are smuggled into the border. There are many, many different ways where guns end up becoming used in the purpose of a crime, and that's what we're really focused on, is making sure that there is less circulation of guns at the end of the day. So, the more guns we can reduce and get out of our country, I think the better Canada will be for it. Guns essentially are something that end up hurting other human beings, and so it is my strong belief that the less guns we have, the better.
Why did your party leader, Justin Trudeau, call for an early election?
I don't believe this to be necessarily an early election. If you go back into history, every minority parliament or government that we've had generally will dissolve within 18 months. We're well over the 18-month period. So Canadians know in minority governments, the government does not tend to last the full 4 terms. And also, it's really important that we give that opportunity to Canadians at this very crucial time during the pandemic. There were supports and immediate action that our government needed to take. We worked tirelessly the last 2 years to be able to provide those supports to people. But now, we have a very new type of government to run. We have a new mandate that we would like. We want to focus on the recovery. And in our platform of 2019, we did not envision a pandemic such as the one we just had. So we want to put that new platform forward to Canadians. We want them to exercise their civic right and let us know clearly what they want to see in the upcoming years for their future.
Great. And why should the people of Brampton North vote for you?
Well, I hope the people of Brampton North have had the opportunity to meet me. However, if they have not had the opportunity to meet me yet, I want to say that, I'm always available. Reach out to me in my office. I would love to meet anyone with any issues or concern. Democracy really is a two-way street. I try to get out there as much as possible. I try to do as many interviews as possible so that you can hear from me, you can see me, you can get to know me. But I also want to see and get to know you as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out. So if Brampton North wants a very accessible, compassionate, caring member of Parliament, I hope that on September 20th, they will go to the election polls and cast their ballot with their conscience and vote for the person they think that can deliver that, and vote for the party that has a very clear vision for Canada.
Nice answer. And just on a last note, more broadly, why should Canadians vote Liberal?
The Liberal Party has been there through thick and thin, side by side with Canadians throughout this pandemic. I think from what we have been able to deliver in the last year and a half that we're really focused and really want to concentrate our efforts to making lives more affordable for people, making sure that people have the opportunities they need to succeed. The party has always been about making sure that there's a balance when it comes to running this country. So I feel that Canadians should take a really close look at our platform and take a look at all of the initiatives that we are going to be putting forward for the environment, for the economy, for jobs, for youth, for seniors, basically so that Canada continues to be the best country in the world.
Thank you again for joining us and wishing you best of luck with your campaign.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ava, for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. I'm Avaah Blackwell, and you're watching Inc. TV. Remember to subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notifications